Hey YouTube, it's David from mdbootstrap.com. In this video, we're gonna learn how to create responsive HTML email. This is gonna be very quick video, so I'm gonna show you how to create this simple email within just a few minutes. And we have another video for you where we're gonna learn how to create much more complex scenario, much more complex layouts. So you're gonna find the link to this video in the description down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we are releasing more videos like this every week. There are 2-3 more videos. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So I have empty project here with just sample images which I used for this email. So I have some logo, I have some icons and some banner over here which I created before. You can download all these files and icons from our GitHub repository. So we're gonna find the link to these icons in description down below. Let's open this in Visual Studio Code. Let's create new file. I'm gonna call it index.html and let's use basic HTML setup. So this is our code. I'm gonna open this in live server so we see our changes immediately here. So as soon as I save, it's gonna refresh our page. Okay, let's start with HTML. So I'm gonna write the entire HTML and then we're gonna add some classes. What is important to mention, what you have to know while creating an email is that you cannot use external resources. So you cannot just load external CSS, external JS, because it's going to be blocked by email client for the security reasons, for the security measures. And that's why you have to write everything inline. So let's start with our head. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a wrapper here. And inside this wrapper, we want to have header and we want to have a logo. So I'm going to do image, source, image, logo, PNG, and we have logo here. Now, next to our logo, we want to have another div, and inside this div, we're going to put unordered list with ID social, as we're gonna add some styles to it, and then list item, and then anchor, target, and image inside, and this is image, Facebook, color, PNG. Okay, so here it is. Well, it doesn't look great yet, but don't worry, we're gonna work on that. And now let's duplicate, or actually before we duplicate it, let's add target. So we want to open our links in new window. So as you can see, we're gonna open in new tab, new window, new tab. So let's now duplicate it 4 times and let's change it to Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I also prepared for you black and white version for each icon, so you can also use them if you want. Feel free, whichever one you prefer, you can simply use it. Okay, now we have our header ready, so let's wrap it up. We have wrapper over here. So now after the header, we want to move to a banner. So we have banner ID, and inside our banner we want to have image with our main image. As you can see, it's very big. We're gonna take care of it a little bit later. Now below our banner we want to have a single column, so let's call it something like one col. And I'm using class here, not ID, because what we're gonna do, I can imagine that you might want to reuse this section a couple of times if you have different paragraphs or articles. And as I mentioned, in another tutorial, we are showing you how to create different layouts with 2 columns, 3 columns, something like this. So different layouts with some images to the left, to the right, single column, some mixed content, 2 columns, 3 columns, and so on and so on. So this is what you're gonna learn in another tutorial. This one is very quick to put our hands up on writing HTML emails. Okay, so we have one column here. Inside this one column, we want to have some heading, learn how to create emails in HTML. And then let's add some paragraphs. So we have paragraph, lorem 30 words for us, another paragraph, again, lorem 30, or even let's say 40, why not? So we have 40. And finally, we want to add some divider here. No, before divider, we still need this button. So let's add this. So this is gonna be href. We're gonna have anchor, and we're gonna add class btn for button. Again, class, because I imagine that you might want to reuse it in other places. Now, okay, I messed up. So paragraph button here, and this lorem 40 is for paragraph. So I just generated 40 words in our second paragraph. Now, hr for a line, and footer for our footer, obviously. P, let's give it some ID, let's say contact, and let's copy this this data over here. Now we need to use br for new lines, but usually you don't want to do it when you're creating your website. You don't want to use br, but since, as I mentioned before, this is since we have to do everything inline, that's why we are using this. This is perfectly okay. So this is how our email looks now. Well, it's not the best email I ever seen, but we're gonna make it better. So let's move on to our CSS now. Now, the very first thing we want to do, we want to change our font. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to Google Fonts. Pardon my interruptions for a moment. I just wanted to let you know that besides this video, we also released a lot of different tutorials. Especially you should check our Bootstrap 5 crash course, which we released recently. If you want to watch this video, you're gonna find the link somewhere over here or in the description down below. This is a perfect tutorial for the people who haven't used Bootstrap 5 or Bootstrap at all in the past, as well as for those who've been using Bootstrap for some previous projects and would like to know what has changed. And believe me, a lot has changed in newest Bootstrap 5. This video and this tutorial obviously is completely free for everyone. It's available on the YouTube, and if you would like to support us to help us creating more tutorials and materials like this video and the Bootstrap 5 course, you should also try our MDB UI kit, which is available also for free as an open source. You're gonna find a link to this project down below, so give a try and I'm sure you're gonna love it. And we're gonna find font which we like. So you can just browse through all of them and you want to find something which you like the most. Let's say we're gonna go with this railway. It's a little bit different from what we have here, but that doesn't matter. We're gonna use it as an example. You can choose different styles. So let's say I want to use this style and I want to have this style. And now if you go here, you've got CSS link, CSS code you have to use in your document. So let's paste it. So this is style import, and now let's add this to our body. So let's use body selector and we're gonna change font, and as you can see it just changed. Well, it's not really readable, so let's actually, you know what, let's get rid of this fin, and let's use a little bit thicker version. Okay, so this will do. We're gonna work on it in a few seconds to make it a little bit more readable. But before we move to font and body, let's reset everything. So asterisk, and now margin 0, padding 0, border 0, and family we already have. So now we can move to body. For the body, what we want to do, we want to have this nice grayish background. So background color, I'm gonna use something like D9D BDB, And obviously you can play with it a little bit, darker, lighter, whatever you like. I'm gonna leave it as it is now. Next, font size, let's make it a little bit bigger, 18 pixels, just to make it easier to read, maybe even 19. Why not? Let's use 19. Yeah. Okay. Now, next, we want to limit our body to max with 800 pixels. This is because this is usually what email application looks like. So usually when you have an email app, you have some side navigation, wherever, and the actual email is smaller. So we want to keep it to 800 pixels to look good, to match the size and make it easier to read. Let's add some margin. Now, what happened here, as you can see here, if I remove this, we've got our text on the full screen. And if we add the size, it's gonna be limited to 800 pixels. So this is here. Now we have this scroll here because our image is too big, but we're gonna take care of it in a second. So now we limited this space to 800 pixels, and let's now center it. We're gonna center it using margin 0 auto, and you should see that now we've got this nice margin from the left. We also got it from the right, and we just have this too big image, which is giving us this extra space on the right side, but we're gonna take care of it in a second. Let's just add us some padding. Let's say 3% should work for us. Now, as I said, image, let's set it max width to 100%. So now it looks much better. It's not gonna go outside our div. Okay, now header. So let's, how about we make it even more narrow, so 98%, and let me spell it correctly with okie dokie. So we are centering this, so it focuses our eyesight to the center, so it will make it easier to read. Now logo. So our logo is here. It's obviously too big, so we need to do something with it. What I'm gonna do with logo, I'm gonna limit the size to 120 pixels. Obviously, you could do this in some, graphic application editor like Photoshop or Paint or whatsoever. Just resize the image. I'm doing this using CSS, which is also perfectly fine. Let's add some margins. But before we add margins, let's also jump to wrapper for a second. Why? Because I want to add some background, and I want this background to be something like F0, F6, FB. So we'll have this lighter background here, and now you will see our margins. So I'm gonna add margin to 3%, 0, 3%, and maybe 3% in case we would like to change it in future. So just to remind you, top, right, bottom, left. And now let's do float to left. So we have it floated to the left side, so our icons are going floating from right side. We have this margin here. Now obviously we need to work on our social icons. So again, social float right. Now add some margins. So again, top, right, bottom, and left. By the way, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, don't worry, just stop video here, check our CSS tutorial, go through it so we could understand what is going on, and then get back here so we could continue writing this email. Okay, list style type list. So we want to get rid of this ugly dots, none. Okay, and now what we want to do, social ally children display inline, so we want them next to each other. Now obviously they are too big, so we want to change it. So let's do it like this: social ally a and image. And this is because, if you don't know what's going on, this is because this is how our structure looks like. Header here, so we have social ally anchor and image. So that's how we want to target these images. We could obviously add classes or whatsoever, but this is also working fine. Max width, let's say 35 pixels. Yeah, I think this looks good. Obviously we could have something like 40 pixel, that's also fine. And so this is all up to you and your preferences. Now we have our logo and social icons ready. We have our banner ready. So what we can do now, we can move to our headings and paragraphs. So H1, and let's add margins 3%. And actually let's add this one to our paragraph as well. So yeah, now it's definitely much more readable. Now let's move to our button. So btn class, and then please, now we are using class because I can imagine that you would like to reuse this button in other places. So let's create class and not use ID. Let's float it to right. Let's add some margin, 0, 2%, 4%, and 0. Now, background color, something like 303840. I prepared these colors before, so we can reuse them or we can play with yours. Now, color, so let's change it to F6F, AFF. Now, text decoration. We don't want any text decoration. We don't want this line here. So let's get rid of it. Font weight. Let's make it a little bit crazy, 800. Now paddings, 8 pixels and 12 pixels. That will make it bigger. Border radius, 8 pixel. And finally, let's add some letter spacing. Let's say 2 pixels. Maybe 1. Yeah, I think maybe 2. Yeah, that's fine. By the way, if I'm typing too fast, don't worry, just stop your video and retype, or you can check the final source code in the description down below, where you're gonna find a link to the GitHub repository with the source code of this email. Now, our HR is gone. You can see it here, but it's not displayed over here. So we need to fix it with our CSS styles. Now, HR, what do you have to do to make it visible? First, set it height to 1 pixel. Okay, this is first thing. Then we need to add background color, and I'm gonna reuse the same one as we had here for the button. Okay, now it's here. Now it's floating next to the button because we have float on our button, so we need to clear this. So clear both directions, just to be on the safe side. And it's actually it. We could leave it as it is, but we can also make it smaller and centered like this one. So I'm gonna show you how to do it now. So let's set its width to 96%. And this is gonna make it shorter, but only from the right side, and we want to center it. So let's set margin to auto, and this will center it for us. Okay, finally, last but not least, it's a contact section. Okay, and we want to do text align center. Yeah, here it is, and let's make it a little bit smaller. So let's add also some padding on the bottom. Padding bottom, let's say 3%. Okay, now line height. let's make it a little bit different from our original text. Maybe 16. Yeah. Now font size 12 pixels. Make it smaller. Great. Barely visible. And color, let's reuse same as for line. Yeah, voila. So this is our email. As you can see, it's responsive, so it's looking nice. And that's it for the HTML and CSS part. Now we want to move to the next step. So how to actually send this email. Now, before we move on, let me know down below in the comments how did you like it, and did you know how to create image templates, HTML templates before, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we are creating more tutorials like this every week for you. Okay, now in order to use this, we have to put our resources, our assets to the web, because now if we check this image, it's obviously locally on our computer. So if we send it, no one actually gonna use it. No one won't be able to see it if we won't publish it to the web. So let's publish it to some server. So I'm gonna use MDB CLI. So I'm gonna do MDB login, provide my username and password. And the only thing I have to do is just say MDB publish. If you are not familiar with MDB CLI, I'm gonna accept the default values, and voila, this will upload my page to the web. So as you can see now, everyone can see it easily. So here it is, but what is even more important, that my images are also here. So I can just copy this part here and I can add it to my images here. So I want to add it to our logo. Actually, we just need this part, social icons, banner, and yeah, everything works perfectly fine. But now our images are hosted, everyone can see them. So again, if you don't know how to use MDB CLI, navigate to mdbootstrap.com/CLI, where you're gonna find all information you need. So this is CLI from MDB. It's totally free for you, so you can use it. You can see how easily you can publish project within just a single command, MDB publish, and it will go to web. It's gonna be secured and you can use it. The last thing to do is to test it. So I'm gonna use podsmail.com test. So this is a tool which allows you to test your emails before sending them. So I want to send it to my email. I want to do some test over here and I want to copy paste it. Now it's important to put this checkbox on because this will move our CSS. Although we put it here, it's gonna change it to inline. So it's gonna add inline styles over here, which is important for some of the email apps. So let's hit send email. And this is how our email looks in Gmail. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to smash a like, don't forget to leave a comment down below, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. As I said, you can check another videos on how to create more complex structure like this and many more tutorials. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.